this is episode 222. That's like is that a Gucci or anything significant?
It is 222.
222. I don't know if that has any meaning, but tomorrow will be episode 223 for all you Remington geeks. You can check that out.
And you have to wait all the way until we get to, 308 is the next one, and then 556.
Yeah, that'd be a while.
Yeah.
If we're still on air then, or on not air, whatever you call this, on the world and the internet. What channel are you guys on? Everyone. We're everywhere. Where can I hear you? Everywhere. Everywhere you are. Can you access the internet where you are? I don't have internet where I live. Well, I don't know what to tell you then. If you don't have internet where you live, you're probably not listening to me right now. But if you do, well, congratulations. Welcome back to a new week of Student of the Gun Radio. And I am your host, Professor Paul Markel, and we are coming to you from the Glass Case of Emotion Studios, which is located at Student of the Gun University. Yes, it is a real place. And the guy who's finishing up his lunch over there on the other side of the screen is Jared. Hi, Jared.
Hi, how are you?
Did you say anything up to this point? Was your mic live the whole time you were slurping your noodles there?
Probably.
Probably.
I wasn't slurping, though.
Oh, okay.
Maybe if you turn it up really loud, you can hear me.
Yeah. So if you turn it up really loud and you hear, like, eating noises, that would be Jared on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to a new week. We're glad that you're with us, and we have much to discuss this week because it is Monday, and as is our want and desire, we have a SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week. We're going to talk about food riots in Venezuela. What? That can't possibly happen because they have a wonderful system of government in Venezuela called communism. And, in communism, it's an equal distribution of everything, right? Or is it an equal distribution of misery? Everybody gets their fair share of misery. Maybe that's what it is. Are Hajis harassing military families in the United States of America? I don't know. We'll find out. And the last story we're going to address is I'm going to go ahead right now, and I'm going to tag this as a Go Team moment, just so that we can give them some Go Team music when we read it. All right, do you have our good guy? I'm sorry. Yeah, our Warrior of the Week. Do you have our Warrior of the Week queued up there, Jared? Okay, go ahead. Let's just dive right into it, unless there's something else you want to talk about.
I would just like to let you know that if you are the SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week, you get a free bottle of 9mm plus P. That's special weapons and tactics for the body. Go to SWATfuel.com. Check them out. And if you have a question, you want to call in and leave it on our voicemail so we can play it, call 682-207-7684. And if you have the Student of the Gun mobile app downloaded on your Android or iDevice, then you will know that you can click the Call Us tab, and there's a little button that says Warrior of the Week line. You click it, and it takes you directly to your little phone thingy that starts calling us. So you can do that pretty easily.
There you go. And if you just want to make a purchase from SWAT Fuel, go to SWATfuel.com, check out their store, and when you check out, use the promo code SOTG2015, and you're going to save 10% off your total order. So that is righteous. All right, are we ready to roll the...
If you, when you hear your name on here, you hear the question, email Alex, ALEX, at studentofthegun.com. Email her your name, your mailing address, your phone number, and include your email typed in the body, please.
Did you see the question about whether or not Alex was Alex Markel?
Yeah, I saw that. Jeremy, I'm going to punch you in your face.
Did she see it?
Yeah. I should
Hey, Paul and Jared. This is Cole from Kentucky. I've started the Patriot Fire Team, and we meet regularly. We've gone to the range, done some medical training, and had a barbecue. My Warrior of the Week question is, what are some other activities we can do to help each other prepare? Thanks.
Fantastic question, and I'm glad you asked it. And good for you for getting on board with Patriot Fire Team. For those of you that are uninitiated, because we have to assume that not everybody gets it or understands, because apparently if everyone got it, we wouldn't have to have this show. Go to patriotfireteam.com. That's the word Patriot, the word fire, and the word team all put together. And it's a dedicated website in and unto itself. You can get the free How to Get Started. Or there's a freebie tab at the top. What Jared did for you guys is he put together a little giveaway. Basically, it's a snippet from the Patriot Fire Team book. So, all right, Patriot Fire Team, what is that all about? Patriot Fire Team is all about neighbors helping neighbors, friends helping friends, mutually supporting each other. I'm not going to get into the specific details of it right now because that's what it's all about, and you can find out about that at Patriot Fire Team. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to answer your question. Number one, sounds like you got a fantastic start. What I would do is I would make sure that everybody is on the same sheet of music from an intellectual standpoint. I'm assuming that everybody in the team has a copy of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and that they've read it and that they understand it. Then what I would sit down with your guys and do, I would sit down with them and say, okay, I would actually have a Patriot Fire Team book club or a meeting and tell everybody, say, next time we get together, I want you to bring 2 books that you think everybody in the group should read, or you think maybe we haven't or maybe we aren't aware of. Right now in the studio, I've got books everywhere. I've got them all over the place. I've got the John Locke collection, the Political Thought of the American Revolution, Dynamic Freedoms, and so forth. And probably about half of these books are here because someone else made me aware of them, because someone recommended them to me. They're like, hey, I saw that you really liked the Book of Five Rings. You're probably going to like the Demon Sermon on war, on the martial arts and so forth, handgun combatives, and what have you. So I would do that. I would get there together with everyone and say, hey, because you can't just focus on the body, on the physical. You have to focus on the intellectual. You have to focus on the mental. You have to focus on the mind. Because without everybody being on the same sheet of music, you're just a bunch of barbarians running around with guns. You need to be able to focus on that. The Patriot Fire Team book obviously answers a lot of questions. That's why we wrote it. I mean, we talked about this. We've been talking about it for, 6, 7, 8 months now, 9 months or something like that, Jared, at least 8 months. The reason I wrote it is because we did the Patriot Fire Team as a way for people who are frustrated, angry. They think they should be doing something. They know that they should be doing something. You know, they read the news, and you're like, I should be doing something, or I should be doing more than just voting once every 2 years or 4 years or what have you. But what can I do? I don't know. Okay, great, fantastic. Go to patriotfireteam.com. Get signed up for the newsletter. It's free. It costs you absolutely nothing. You get the how-to explanation. Download the free report. You do that, and then we started getting a bunch of questions. Well, what about this? What about this? What about this? So I went ahead and put together the Patriot Fire Team book. It's available. You can get signed copies from us if you really want one. If you don't want a signed copy, that's cool too. I don't care. Go to Amazon and buy an unsigned copy, and then maybe you can sell it in brand new, never read condition on eBay.
Yeah.
Inside joke. So, yeah, make sure, that's what I would do. I'd make sure that everybody's on the same sheet of music, because it's extremely important for us to do that. And then if you're not a member of the grad program, you may or may not be. It's up to you. But we just did I think, a really fantastic series. It's what we're working on right now about leadership. The 14 leadership traits that are taught to United States Marine non-commissioned officers and officers. And
we had a lot of people say that was the best episode that we've done so far.
Yeah, last Friday, the Tactical Tutor newsletter dealt with the 14 traits, and then on Friday we went into those traits, each one individually, and discussed them. If you're going to be working with a Patriot Fire Team, that's a really important thing to have. And I just decided, Jared, that in the new book, the Patriot Fire Team manual, that information is going to go in there. If you've got the original Patriot Fire Team book right now, you may or may not heard of us talking on the radio about the next book. Who was it that was asking me all about that? Oh, it was Left Hand, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On Talking Lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was. If you guys didn't catch the Talking Lead show this week, go check it out. We basically co-hosted Talking Lead with Marty Left Hand, and he was asking us about books and what's coming up next. So the next book is going to be a Patriot Fire Team manual that's going to go into all the specifics about the hows. We talked about the what and the why. We're going to get really deep in the weeds about the how in that one. So great question. Thank you for asking that. And make sure that you send Alex all of your information so that you can get your free bottle of 9mm plus P. Oh, and if you like that the coaches versus equipment managers article, I want you guys to know that I wrote that on SWAT Fuel.
In like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. He's like, he texted me after he wrote it. He's like, or while he was writing it, he said something about it saved as a draft in the blog, and then I think it was like an hour and a half later, I looked on the Facebook and it had published. I was like, oh wow, he published it already.
I guess he's done.
Yeah.
Well, who else supports us besides SWAT Fuel? Well, Frog Lube does. Frog Lube, it just works. It's green, it's minty fresh, it's non-petroleum based. You put it on your guns, put it on your knives, put it on your toast if you want to. I don't care. It's up to you. Check out Frog Lube at froglube.com. Century Arms, the makers of the C39, made in the USA AK. You know what I put into Zach Hall's mind, or I tried to put into his mind? We were talking about RPKs the other night when I was on the phone with him. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if they decided to do a C39 RPK V2 with a stamped receiver in addition to the milled receiver so that we could put our Go Fast stock on it?
Oh, yeah.
Check those guys out, centuryarms.com. And Duracoat. Duracoat is it's a miracle in a can. Can I call it that? I'm sure somebody else says that they're a miracle in a can. But Duracoat really is a miracle in a can in a can. It's a can in a can.
Yep.
So you can go to brownells.com and check out Duracoat, or you can order it from Lauer Weaponry, or do whatever you want. I don't care. Type in the word Duracoat can and order it from wherever you want to order it. And here's the really cool thing. Once you do your projects, follow them on Facebook. Definitely do. Follow Duracoat on Facebook, Lauer Custom Weaponry. And when you've got your cool projects, there's a lot of really interesting projects that people have done. Just more stuff than I can name here, but post your pictures. It's cool. People like to see that stuff. We don't have an update theme for this, but I guess you could. I don't know. It's not really. It is slave state. It's like a slave nation. But this story comes to us from latino.foxnews.com/Latino news. It's kind of racist, don't you think? And why does it got to be Latino news? Why can't it just be regular news? I don't know. Maybe it's part of that everybody wants to be part of their own special little victim group. Nobody wants to just be an American anymore. Everybody wants to be a Latino American or a Black American or a gay American or a whatever American. I got an idea. How about you just be an American? We could do that. Food shortages trigger violent looting in Venezuela. Government blames the U.S. I guess it's our fault for having too much food. Maybe that's it. All right, here we go. This is how wonderful communism is. Caracas, and that is a city in Venezuela for those of you that went to public school. In just 1 week, at least 4 major episodes of looting have taken place in different parts of Venezuela, raising fears of a massive revolt in the country due to acute food shortages, inflation, and widespread discontent. Now, hold on a second. Aren't we told that progressive socialism is the way to go, and that makes everything fair and makes sure that the rich don't just keep getting rich and that the poor people get a chance too? And isn't that how it works in the world, Jared? I mean, Venezuela was a glittering jewel of progressive socialism.
That's what I've heard.
Oh, it's our fault. It's our fault for not, giving them all of our food or something. You say, but this, if you follow, guys, guys and girls out there, if you're not following the Venezuela story because you're like, I don't care, it's in South America, how does it affect me? It affects you because that is exactly, there are people within the United States of America that think progressive socialism is the way to go. Now, if you're a smart, hip student of the gun, you know it was about 2 weeks ago, right, Jared, that we did an article, or not an article, we did a story, and we let you guys know that Venezuela, in order to alleviate the food shortage problem, the government ordered the food producers, the dairy farmers and you know, all those guys, to turn over their food to the government stores. Remember that? Mm-hmm. So that was about 2 weeks ago. We reported that, and that was going to be the government's solution to making sure that everybody got their fair share of food. Now, when we addressed that story, we said there were a lot of people that thought that that wasn't going to work, but of course the government doesn't care because they're in control of the food. Well, here we are 2 weeks later, and we have food riots across the country, and they're afraid that it's going to devolve into a state of revolt. It says the worst episode occurred on Friday, this is last Friday as you're hearing this, in San Felix, a popular city in the southeastern part of Bolivar, where hundreds of people armed with stones attacked government buses and food markets on the main avenue. Gustavo Pantinez, a 21-year-old employee at one of the businesses, died after being shot in the chest, allegedly by police. At least, you know, you wonder if it was one of those, hey, let's just shoot back at the rioters, and oops, you happen to be standing there. Now you're dead. Don't they have really super strict gun control in Venezuela? Pretty sure they do. At least 3 stores were completely looted before the National Guard took control of the situation. More than 60 people were arrested, and yada, yada, yada. Well, here we go. Here's the deal, folks. Why am I telling you this? Because for whatever strange reason, here in 2015, the human race has not figured out. Well, actually, we did. We figured out, the human race figured out a way to produce more than enough food for everyone. You know what it was called? Free market capitalism. Not crony capitalism, not what passes for capitalism in the United States of America today, but free market capitalism where you keep the government's nose out of it.
No, you don't understand that a whole trickle-down thing doesn't work. Because all business owners are greedy, and they won't pass down anything to their employees. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, exactly. That's why every household in America is filled with junk that they don't even need. Let's face it, folks. Our house is that way, and I'm in the process of getting rid of stuff that we don't need. As Americans, as citizens of the United States, we have more stuff. When I think about when I was a kid, I mean, we were poor, but we never went without. I think that's the main thing that there's a difference between being poor and going without. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't take extravagant vacations. My mom and dad didn't drive fancy cars, but we always had what we needed. And here in America today, we have so much just flat out junk that I don't think we really know how to appreciate it. But we knew in the 50s and 60s and 70s even the United States was feeding most of the world, not all of the world, but a lot of the world. After World War II, after the 50s, when the baby boomers came back or were being born, the war vets came back, the World War II veterans, they started working the farms, they started working the factories, they started cranking out automobiles. And we've talked about this before. Before World War II, being a 2-car family meant you were rich. If your family had a car, you were doing really well. If you had more than one, you were crazy rich before World War II. And then after World War II, we were so incredibly productive that everybody had a car. Every American household had a car. Some had two. It was unheard of. We were growing food, so much food that the price of food was going way down. And in the 80s, the government stepped in and said, oh, you guys are making too much food. You're affecting the prices. We need to have the government step in and pay you not to grow food to keep the prices up. And I'm not going to get into that too far. I don't know. Jared, do you remember what show that was? Hell, I don't remember what show it was. But the point is this. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because there are people in the United States, there are people in the United States government, do I have to tell you that think progressive socialism, where the government gets to control the food distribution, is the way to go. And if they ever get enough power, they're going to screw this country up to the point where you can't even find food, or food without rioting, or food without paying crazy exorbitant prices. Folks, if you don't have enough food in your house that you could just decide not to go to the store tomorrow or the next day or the day after that, I don't know what to tell you. We've been telling you for months and months and months that you should get lots of stuff and put it in your house. This is just another example of what's going on in the world. And you can say, well, that's not in the United States. I don't care. It's no big deal. Matter of fact, it's probably our fault for not embracing more communism and giving them our stuff. Oh, you know, if you're part of the Patriot Fire Team, you chances are really good that you'd already have that block ticked off on your little list there, huh, Jared?
No way.
No way. I mean, we may have already discussed that in great detail. I don't know. My grandma was a doomsday prepper. She was always putting food up in the pantry, we always had food, canned food in the pantry. What a crazy whack job prepper she was.
I think it's funny that you've written tons of material on this. You've written an entire book about how to prepare yourself for stuff like this, and you've written several articles, have you not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and we're still having this conversation. I don't understand.
Well, it'll never happen here, and it'll never happen anywhere, and it's just a CIA-sponsored conspiracy there, you know that, right?
Sure.
All these people killing each other for food in Venezuela, didn't they just run all the grocery stores out of food in Greece? Because they had that wonderful progressive socialism plan in Greece too. So. You know what, Jared? Can you play the accompanying story for this Hodge one? It's 1 minute and 19 seconds. Now, it's got a silly ad at the very beginning. The following story comes to us from denver.cbslocal.com, and the title is FBI, Middle Eastern Men Intimidating U.S. Military Families in Colorado and Wyoming. And so you're saying, what? Excuse me? I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know if I believe that, Paul. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let little Jennifer Bryce and the Channel 4 news team in Denver, I'm going to let them talk about it, and then we'll comment on it further. Can we do that, Jared?
Yeah, we can do that. The ad actually just stopped. So.
Happening now, an alert from the FBI to all law enforcement agencies in Colorado and Wyoming. And the alert involves all military families.
There are concerns about who may be watching them. CBS 4's Jennifer Bryce live at the FBI office in Denver. And Jennifer, this is alarming.
Well, the alert says that Middle Eastern men are approaching military families outside of their homes in both Wyoming and also Colorado. Take a look at this. It looks like Greeley and Cheyenne, Wyoming are the specific areas. In one case last May, the wife of a military member was approached in front of her home by two Middle Eastern men. Now, those men stated that she was the wife of a U.S. interrogator. When she denied their claims, the men laughed. The two men then left the area in a dark-colored four-door sedan with two other Middle Eastern males in the vehicle. And similar incidents apparently are being reported in Wyoming. So, take a look at this. The FBI alert says that Middle Eastern men attempted to gain personal information about those military families and also about the personnel of the military. So the FBI says that this alert, actually the FBI is not commenting on this, but this alert has now been made public to the media, and they're circulating this amongst other law enforcement agencies. Live in Denver, Jennifer Bryce, CBS 4 News.
Thank you, Jen.
Now, hold on. I thought that we were trying to do our best to curb Islamophobia in America. Are we not? Isn't that not the greatest threat facing the United States of America today? Is the threat of Islamophobia? Jared?
Yeah, it is. It's the greatest threat.
So, it sounds to me like this news reporter and her co-anchors that are sitting in the studio there, and it sounds to me like the FBI is trying to spread Islamophobia, and I can't believe that the Justice Department is going to let this stand. Obviously, I'm kidding, folks. Do you know how bad of a situation or how serious of a situation it has to be for the FBI to actually allow something like this to go public? Because there's a lot of stuff that they're made aware of, that they discover, that they hear, that they get chatter day by day, and they don't necessarily make it public. When you get to the point where the government is admitting can we all wrap our heads around that? That when you get to the point where the government is admitting that there's a problem, what that essentially means is there's been a problem for a long, long time, and we just can no longer keep a lid on it. How many people think that the millisecond that the FBI gets information like this, that they generate memos and send them out? Or do you think maybe they get that information, that they sit on it for a while, stew on it, look at it, consider it, throw it back and forth from the department, have some higher up people consider it, and then they're like, all right, we're going to generate a memo, and we're going to send it out to law enforcement. Now, I got a question for you as a listening audience, because I'm assuming most of you don't live in Colorado or, Wyoming. So if you don't live in Cheyenne or Greeley, Colorado, you live somewhere else in the United States of America, did you hear this story before now? Now, if you're a hip student of the gun, you probably did, because you pay attention to our social media and what have you. But if you just get your stories or your news, or you just listen and you don't follow us on social media or any other jazz, ask yourself this. Are you aware of this? Did your local news stations cover this? Did CNN make it a lead story? Oh, no. While this is going on, let me see. This is Dateline, August 4th, 2015. So this story breaks, and I bet you the top story on trending on Yahoo or Google or whatever was either Cecil the Lion or Confederate flags, or what did Donald Trump say today, or is Donald Trump a racist, or is Donald Trump misogynist, or what have you. So they know, and when I shared this story, I was kind of being a little sarcastic. I said that the federal government is all of a sudden pretending like they care. You're like, that's pretty cold, Paul. What do you mean pretending like they care? They obviously care. They definitely care. They generated this memo to be on the alert. If the federal government really seriously cared about protecting military families, not just military service members themselves, but their family members, if they really, really cared, would they just open the never-ending floodgates to allow tens, if not hundreds of thousands, going on millions of these people? And you're like, what do you mean these people? I mean these people. I mean Islamic people. I mean people from countries. Dude, Jared, was that last week that we did the... Oh, no, what was that we shared that video that got kind of a... ho-hum response from the audience, like 4 shares or 4 comments.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, about how your government, in concert with the United Nations, is allowing refugee status to people from countries that openly hate us, Countries that openly wish for our demise, like Syria, Libya, Jordan, Yemen. Oh, no one comes here from Yemen. Oh, hey, that's right. Let me see. Iraq, Iran, you name it. Your country, working with the United States federal government, working in consort with the UN, is bringing in tens of thousands of, quote, refugees from countries that espouse a deep-seated hatred for the United States of America. They're bringing them into our cities, our communities, and just basically dropping them off there. Here you go. Here you go, Cook County. Well, that's a bad example. Here you go, whatever. Holmes County, Smith County, George County, Jackson County. Here you go. Here's 5,000 refugees from Syria, from Libya, from wherever. Go ahead and... none of them have jobs. None of them have any money. We're going to have to put them all on welfare. We're going to have to give them low-income housing. And they're going to go to your schools. And when they get to your schools, you're going to have to make special adjustments for them because they don't really speak English and so forth. You're going to have to feed them special food, and but it's the right thing to do. Yeah, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to undermine the United States. And these stories are out there, and how many of your friends and family members give one serious rat's rear end about it? Seriously. Okay, we have these dozens upon dozens of isolated incidents where Muslim missionaries attack our service members, attack our citizens, tell people that they have to convert to Islam. Oh, I'm not going to convert. Well, I'm going to cut your head off at work. But that's just one isolated. Where do you think these people come from? But we're so weak, we're so flaccid that we won't stop them from coming into the United States. We can't just, you can't just stop them. Why not? If your government really, really, really cared about keeping you safe, they would shut the door. No, sorry. Until we get this whole global war on terror thing sorted out, nobody from a hostile nation gets in. Yeah, but Paul, you can't keep them out because we don't care about securing the borders. They just walk across. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Never mind. Just watch the nation crumble. Just watch the nation crumble. And it's crumbling. Oh, so that's the news that you need to know about. The news that's disheartening, but you could choose to ignore it at your own peril. And so when one of the many thousands upon thousands of people coming to the United States from these countries that hate us, when they decide to go all lone wolf and murder American citizens, I guess we'll just be treated to the whole you can't judge an entire culture based on the actions of one single individual or 10 single individuals or 100 single individuals or 1,000, or you can't judge an entire culture on the actions of a few 100,000 people, Paul. Come on. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to some good news. You want to talk about some good news, Sharon?
Yeah, I like good news.
All right. Well, before we talk about the good news, and we're going to wrap our show up with good news, let's thank our friends at Velocity Triggers. They have a trigger for you. You have a black rifle? You do? What? That's crazy.
It could be pink or brown.
Well, whatever.
Yellow.
It could be flat dark earth or whatever. But if you got an AR-15, it's slightly darker black. If you got an AR-15, Velocity Triggers has a trigger for you. Check those guys out at velocitytriggers.com. Crossbreed Holsters, the makers of the most comfortable in-the-waistband holster there is, bar none. And one of the most high quality as well. You carrying a gun? You're not carrying a gun. Why don't you fix yourself? Start carrying a gun. You want to carry it comfortably all the time, every day? I've got my TP9 SA on right now in a Crossbreed Super Tuck holster. Check those guys out at crossbreedholsters.com. They will help you carry a gun.
And is Velocity on Brownells now? I haven't looked yet.
Last time I looked, they Their triggers weren't on brownells.com yet. I think that's in the works, so I'm pretty sure it's in the works.
Yeah. Well, Brownells has everything.
Yeah.
So go to brownells.com, check them out.
Including Duracoat.
Yeah, including Duracoat.
That's right.
I'm actually wearing my TP9 SA with my crossbreed outside the waistband
Outside.
holster. Right
All right.
now, at this moment in time.
At this very
Man,
moment
you know
in
what?
time. What?
I had yesterday when I asked for suggestions on custom, or not yesterday, maybe it was last week.
Oh, about leather
What is
holsters for
today?
your
Today's Monday.
Your car
Yeah, it
CM9.
was- yeah.
it was last week.
Last week sometime. I think it might have been Monday, actually. But yeah, for custom leather holsters, I had a bunch of people write in recommendations, and it was the people that I had already talked to
Yeah,
that didn't have the mold for it or whatever.
yeah. It's the ones that already said that we can't help you.
Yeah.
Oh well. All right. Give us a Go Team theme. We haven't played the Go Team theme in a while.
That's why I say, hey man, I shine.
Well, there wasn't any shooting yet, but thank you, Filter, for the Go Team Moment theme song. We like that theme song.
What was
This-
the name of that called?
Nice
song?
shot.
Is it called Nice
I think
Shot
it's
or
called
Hey
Nice.
Man? Or
No, I think it's called Nice Shot
I think so too.
from Filter. So, all right, the source for this is Breitbart.com. And it says, citizens, sheriff, stand guard to keep VA from confiscating veterans' guns. Now, you're like, hold on a second. Why would the Veterans Administration be in, and this is a story by A.W.R. Hawkins, why would the Veterans Administration or the federal government want to concern itself with whether or not a vet is a gun owner or possesses guns? Isn't that a state matter, Jared? Wouldn't you think that
No. There
the
is no 10th Amendment.
that the state is in charge of that? And if this guy, this particular person, is a problem child or is a threat or is a criminal or whatever, isn't it up to the sheriff and the state and the local police to deal with that?
Yeah.
Or maybe
It
not.
should be, but
Where did you guys hear? Where did we talk about this before? Was it right on Student of the Gun Radio? I'm pretty sure it was. On August 6th, residents and Bonner County Sheriff Darrell Wheeler lined up outside the Priest River, Idaho home of veteran John Arnold to prevent the VA from taking away his guns. Arnold received a letter from the VA in which he was allegedly informed that he was no longer fit to own guns. Here's a quote from the KREM Channel 2 report. It says, an inspector was to go to Arnold's home on August 6th to complete an inspection and seize his guns. Whoa. Does it say here Arnold is under indictment for committing a crime? No. So why does the VA think that it's going to send an inspector? Now, is the VA itself going to show up at this guy's house as like your local VA counselor or your rep? Are they going to? Do they go out? Like when Comrade Barry is squawking about gun control, is Comrade Barry going to go to your house and take your guns? No. They
you can't control a bicycle, let alone a gun.
They have minions to do that for them. And I can only guess that they were going to enlist the aid of, I don't know, the U.S. Marshal Service or somebody. But it continues. It says that residents and local law enforcement rallied to stop such a seizure. According to the Associated Press, the VA acknowledged having sent a letter to Arnold, but would not discuss the details of what they told him, citing privacy issues. Whose privacy? The dude's already saying it in public. Whose privacy are you protecting? That's crap. You guys know that. All right, that's crap. It says roughly 100 people showed up, including Sheriff Wheeler. Those assembled waved an American flag, a Gadsden flag, and sang patriotic songs, Wheeler said. Wheeler said, I took an oath to uphold... Wow. Listen, hey, listen to me. I know you're on the treadmill. I know some of you are driving. I know you're doing other things. Pay attention to the next sentence that comes out of my mouth. Wheeler said, and that is the sheriff, I took an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution and uphold the laws of Idaho. This seemed appropriate to show my support. I was going to make sure Mr. Arnold's rights weren't going to be breached. That mindset, that mentality is not something that your local sheriff, your local police chief, it's not something that they should have. That mindset, I took an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution and the laws of my state. That is mandatory. That is mandatory for you. Ask your local sheriff. Don't be confrontational, but it is 100% within your rights to inquire of your sheriff, your chief law enforcement officer, will you support the Constitution and defend the people against tyranny? Will you defend the rights of the people? Yes or no? And if they give you some kind of PC, politically correct, well, it all depends on, whether, I feel like it that day or we have to address every case on an individual case-by-case basis. That's not what I asked you. Do you understand the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and will you support the rights of the people against any and all who would usurp those rights, which would include a tyrannical government, an overreaching government agency? But it continues. It says, Washington State Representative Matthew Shea stood outside Arnold's home as well. Shea said being there was part of showing defense against tyranny. Woo! We got reps who get it. We got reps who get it. The protest against the gun seizure was prompted by State Representative Heather Scott, who informed fellow residents of the VA's intentions once she was made aware of the letter. The letter was based on the VA's assessment that Arnold no longer, check this out, what did Comrade Barry just say he was going to do? When these people say they're going to do something, how many of you got a call from the NRA? I did. Jared, did you get a call last week or an email from the NRA?
I got an email.
Warning you about this backdoor gun grab by Barry and his minions? And how many of you either got the call from the NRA or saw the email or saw the alerts and said, come on, more fear-mongering, more, they're not going to do that. The government's not going to send their own agents out to take guns away from people who are on Social Security based on whether or not they can manage their finances. This is the first one, folks. This is it. It says, the VA's intentions were made. The letter was based on the VA's assessment that Arnold no longer handles his own finances, which is one of the indicators the VA uses to determine who is or who is not mentally competent to own guns. Do you understand this right here? The VA has decided, the Veterans Administration has taken it upon itself to decide whether or not this veteran or that veteran should be allowed, not based upon criminal history, not based upon actions, whether or not they should be allowed to possess firearms. KREM2 reported that the VA field officer showed up at Arnold's house Thursday and told the crowd that, quote, the VA inspector would not be coming to Arnold's house that day. The veteran service officer also said Arnold may appeal the paperwork stating that he was incompetent to so now the VA's gonna allow him to appeal it. How about get bent? Oh, folks, I don't know what else to tell you. If this is Go Team, fantastic. I am 100% proud of these people out there in Idaho. I could not be more proud of their stance against tyranny. The fact that we have a sheriff that will go out in public and say, hey, look, I'm the sheriff of the community, of the county. I'm here to protect the citizens and to protect the rights of the citizens against whomever it is that is going to try and take them, regardless of their status as an agency of the government.
Make sure you watch this dude and make sure they don't remove him from his job.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing is so what happens? Okay, the tyrants get back down, or they realize, oh well, I better go somewhere else. Or you guys remember? You guys don't remember Elian Gonzalez, do you? You remember the Elian Gonzalez story? It's basically the Elian Gonzalez story should show you or let you know what your government is capable of. They decided, look it up. They raided this family's house on Easter morning when they let their guard down because people were standing vigil around this house. They waited till Easter morning, and then they sent them the Gestapo. They sent the stormtroopers in to pepper spray people and to remove this little kid at gunpoint. That would be a Janet Reno thing. Most of you probably don't remember. What are they capable of? They're capable of whatever they think they can get away with. Remember that. We're way, 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 way. We're like, how many, what did Han Solo say? How many parsecs? We're like 12 parsecs away from what does the Constitution allow us to do. We're now into the what can we get away with and who will dare to stop us. That's where we are in America today. And you need to, and you say, well, how does this play into your whole Patriot Fire Team thing? I'll tell you how it plays in. Will you defend your neighbor? Will you stand in defense of your friends, of your community? Or will you just go inside and close the curtains and hope no one comes to find you? Will you sit in your house hiding, being glad that it wasn't you this time? Yeah. So, folks, we're coming right up to the end here of today's show. Let me give you a quick tease about what's going to be on Tuesday's show. Let me look down at my show notes here. What do we got on board? Oh, rape, murder, and mayhem, courtesy of the U.S. federal government. We reported last week on the illegal invader who found a federal officer's gun and murdered a woman in California. And we've got a similar situation going down in Ohio now, where an illegal invader who was actually caught by local law enforcement was told by the feds, you need to go ahead and let him go. He hasn't committed a crime. Ponder on that for a minute. What else we got? We had a psycho woman attacking a kid over flying a drone on a beach. What? Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and put a wrap on the whole cop stalking thing that we talked about, and it's actually going to play in well from today's show to tomorrow. So make sure that you're tuning into Student of the Gun Radio each and every day. And folks, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. Share Student of the Gun with your friends. Share it with your family. If you're working in a shop, take your phone and plug it into the speaker so that everyone can listen.
Speaking of sharing Student of the Gun, thank you for making the most interesting man meme. That was pretty interesting. It was cool.
Did you like that? The most interesting man meme?
Yeah. Do you know who made that originally?
I'm not sure who made it originally, but it grew legs and took on a life of its own and just flew away.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, thanks for joining us today. We will talk to you tomorrow.